Action.
Good morning.
Morning.
How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm good. So today we're going to go over sustainability and compete and how we can make it more sustainable and more eco-friendly. How's that sound?
Sounds good.
So to start with, do you know what sustainability means?
I mean, for the most part, I think of like the environment, but I'd love to hear more about it.
Cool. Yeah, so that would be like the main way that I feel like most of us would think of what sustainability is our impact on the environment. Um, So the basic definition of sustainability is the ability to maintain a certain rate or level over time. So in regards to our company, that can be um, paper, energy. One that often gets overlooked, especially with the fitness industry and coaching, is human energy. So the amount of hours that we're putting in and dedicating time to our clients, but are we also working at a rate or hours that we can recover and also take care of ourselves? So, like coach burnout and stuff like that. Um, so,
Mhm.
examples of sustainability, just in general, as I was just mentioning, human resources. So, that'd be your time, energy at work, energy in general. So, that'd be electricity, gas, water, stuff like that. Infrastructure is basically anything that the company needs to function. So that'd be the building, how we're organized, systems that are in place. For example, like if a system that we have to register new clients or something like that, or scheduling isn't efficient, then we're wasting extra time and energy doing extra things where we could automate these systems. Um, Technology, that's like, can we switch from paper to electronic? So when we do our waivers or something like that, instead of having a stack of waivers, um, can we send an email out early to the client or potential client and have them sign up through that way? Also equipment and materials. So that would be our exercise equipment. We do a really good job of, you know, finding used equipment and repurposing it and also maintaining our equipment as well. So we're not purchasing new equipment all the time, especially because it's very cost um, disadvantage to our costs in our budget
Mhm.
because it's very expensive.
Definitely.
So benefits to sustainable work practices. The big one I feel for our company in general is compete is increased productivity, happiness, and longevity in the workplace. Um, all of us put a ton of hours in um, weekly and daily, and trying to find ways to maybe make our workday more efficient so we're not, I don't want to say wasting our time on things that aren't in our job role. So, um, making sure our coaches aren't spending too much time doing administrative stuff or scheduling or marketing or stuff like that, and they can really focus on what they want to do and have their schedules more organized so they're not getting burned out. And then we can keep and retain better employees that know, and we don't have to spend time training new people and all this kind of stuff that isn't necessarily in our scope of practice. Um, Reducing the environmental impact. We do a good job at recycling. We do have the bins around the facility, but one thing I've noticed is we use a lot of paper, especially in that front desk under the television, for like class advertisements and business cards, flyers, stuff like that. And I'm wondering if there's a way that we can reduce the amount of paper that we're utilizing throughout the company, whether that be more newsletters or yeah, using social media may be better. But I know the convenience of having those papers is nice when new clients come in and they can hand it out. But is there a different way that we could maybe implement that with like QR codes or something? Um,
Hmm.
Reduce energy costs. So obviously we're in California, electricity and water and gas are through the roof. Um, so are there ways that we can reduce our usage which ultimately reduce the amount that we're paying per month um, to the renters for the facility at the moment? Um, our next one that we've already touched upon was maintaining the exercise equipment. We
Hmm.
do usually purchase used equipment.
Yeah.
So in that way, we do a good job, but we need to do maybe a better job at maintaining it. Um, so fixing things right away when they're broken. So things aren't getting damaged and damaged and damaged to the point where we cannot fix it, and then we need to purchase more. Um, I just touched upon this again, just switching to paperless. It just reduces the impact on the environment, cuts costs, regardless if we're um, recycling or not. Um, this can also go into like the cutlery that we use because I know we use a lot of plastic cutlery. So maybe we can have everyone's own designated cutlery or something like that. So we're not also using plastics and stuff.
Yeah.
Um, and with the clients that we have, a lot of it is youth to, I want to say teenage, young adult. Um, we have a big impact on their lives as health and training and helping them reach their athletic goals, but can we also use strategies that we're using to create a sustainable workplace by like can we make that impact on their lives as well by setting an example? So like using show like if they want to throw something away that's recyclable, can we um what's the word like keep them accountable or
Yeah.
show that we're using like eco-friendly cutlery, not using paper, the lighting, like censored lighting, and then like cleaning supplies. Like, can we use an eco-friendly cleaning supply?
Hmm.
Because most of these athletes are in here 2 to 3 times a week, so we have a lot of one-on-one time with them. So they might, I guess, to me, a big thing as a coach is setting an example through your own actions, and they usually pay attention to that. So maybe there's a way that we can impact their lives as well and raise awareness. Um, and then that's something that they can take into college or something like that. But this is the way that the world is evolving, and we need to change with the times because there's not only a company benefit, but we can also impact our clients. Um, Three main areas of improvement that I think that we can maybe highlight is one, the coach burnout is relevant across almost every gym and training facility, sports teams. Um, so I think for us is maybe some way to organize our schedules a little bit better and automate that. So you guys have more control over your schedule. And it's not necessarily like, oh, who's available right now? Okay, we're working 6, 7 hours in a row with no break. Um, that not only I feel will make a bigger impact on your personal life, but you'll be able to deliver, I don't want to say better sessions, but be more energized for your sessions instead of it's just dragging on because we need to take care of you. Because if we don't take care of you, you can't take care of our clients. Um, so if there's a way that we can somehow reduce the amount of stress and impact this is having on you guys to meet the demands of our clients, I think that's something we need to touch upon. Um, our energy rating. This is from Australia. It's I need to see if they have it at home. It doesn't necessarily have like the rating, but like the toilets, cars, uh, electronic appliances, they all have these energy ratings, and hope maybe we could identify what's, I guess, costing us the most in our energy bills, and maybe implementing like LED lighting or sensored lighting. So like in the toilets, um, when no one's in there, it turns off.
Hmm.
Um, Something like that. That's kind of where I'm looking at, especially with we're moving into summer and
Hmm.
um, the amount of black blackouts. So I was going to say power
Yeah.
outages, but same thing.
Hmm.
Um, how many are occurring at the moment because of the heat? Is there a way that we can reduce our impact that way? Um, I think that would benefit us not only as a company, but also the environment. And then also maintaining our equipment. I've touched upon this as well. I think we just need to be more mindful as to cleaning the equipment, putting it away, how you're using it, and just remind especially the younger athletes, like don't just drop the dumbbells down, um, stuff like that. Because if you can see like some of the newer dumbbells that we have, the rubber's falling off and stuff,
Hmm.
and we need to fix that right away. So it just looks nicer in the gym when things are maintenance. One, just the visual, and then two, we don't have to spend money on another 20-pound dumbbell. Do you know what
Yeah.
I mean?
It'll last longer.
That exactly that cost can be allocated somewhere else. Um, but the more we maintenance our equipment and keep on top of it, maybe like a weekly schedule, monthly schedule, I think will reduce that impact as well. And then we're not just purchasing and purchasing and purchasing.
Hmm.
So this is where we all come together as one. Um, what can we do as a company to improve our sustainable work practices? So we're all going to work together on this. How does that sound?
Sounds good.
Cool. Okay. So on this, do you have, I guess, what are your thoughts right now on everything that we've discussed?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a lot of really great ideas. I think we have, a good framework to go on. So thanks for putting this together. I really liked, and I think one thing to write down is, our impact on the kids and, our clients and clientele. So like, even as small as using reusable water bottles that they bring on their own instead of purchasing water bottles. Um, yeah, and then like you said, it kind of overlaps into their life as to being more efficient and sustainable outside of just our gym.
Yeah, exactly. Like there's so many like little nuances that we could do. And I really like your idea about the water bottles because that could also be good branding. Um,
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
and then another thing that I was thinking about as you said that was, you know
Hmm.
how we have the towels, the exercise towels?
Yeah.
Maybe guess I don't really want to say like stop providing it, but maybe we could just have compete towels that you can purchase if you forget your towel.
Yeah. Or, have everybody bring in their own towel so we're not wasting money on washing towels or something.
So bring own towel, bring own
Yeah.
towel, personal towel. There we
Perfect.
go. That sounds better. Personal towel, otherwise fee. Um, what other have you noticed anything around the facility that you think could we could do better at?
Well, I think we should write down your idea about moving to being more paperless. I feel like we do, like you mentioned, we do a lot of, you know, handing out papers, brochures and, paperwork, business cards. So, you had a really good idea of, making you mentioned a QR code and emails for newsletters. And, I think going that route is it was a great idea. I think we definitely need to implement that.
Cool. I guess I also was like thinking like who actually uses brochures anymore? Do you know what I
Yes.
mean? Like we just have
You
to
just throw them
evolve.
away anyway.
Yeah, because everyone does everything online, right?
Hmm.
So is it even worth, you know, having a brochure? Is it worth like we don't really need I don't know. I guess it's more like convenience at the moment. Um it's easy to pick up a piece of paper, but a lot of times I feel like when you pick up the piece of paper, just you throw it in your car and you forget about it.
100%. Yeah, having something on your phone is definitely a better way to reach people.
Yeah. So I guess that would kind of go into can how do we market that a little bit better? Or QR codes for waivers, class
Mhm.
times, um, mind body for scheduling. Um, yeah, so like you know where we have all the papers in the front of the little television,
Mhm.
maybe having a QR code there and saying like waivers, class times, mind body scheduling, and then maybe like like a locked up iPad if people need and they can just do it there, like for
That's a
check in or something like that.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Um, wow, that was actually so brilliant. So, so smart. Um, what are your thoughts about the equipment?
I think you hit it on the head as far as, we're being kind of wasteful when we don't spend the money on maintenance, because then we're, like you said, we end up replacing equipment that probably could have lasted longer and saved us money in the long term by just keeping up with maintenance. And you even mentioned even just as small as dumbbells, and having, coaching the kids on being easier on the equipment so that way it lasts longer. We're having to replace dumbbells because they're chipping or breaking, and kettlebells and medicine balls. You know, yeah, you. I think all of those things, keeping up with maintenance, is going to save us money, to not have to replace the big equipment, and then just the guidance to help us to save the smaller equipment as well. Well, that's going to help us be more sustainable.
Yeah, because like it's not even like having them be easier on the equipment. It's just like teaching them to take care of other people's stuff and teaching
Mhm.
them how to take care of your stuff. Like it's not everything's replaceable.
Yeah.
And just because it is replaceable doesn't necessarily mean that you can not take care of it.
Right.
Because I don't know. I always say this because it's like, do you want me to come into your house and throw your computer on the floor?
Exactly.
No, you don't. Because like regardless, like it's someone else's stuff. And yes, I want you to train hard and work hard, but there's certain things you can drop and certain things that you shouldn't drop.
Yep.
Um, and that's also why I love like what we do. Just make an impact, not just there, but like helping them be good people and learn and grow as an individual.
Yeah.
Um, what was the other one? How are you feeling as a coach? Mentally, physically, emotionally, is there anything that we can do as a company better to make it more sustainable for you? Because we've had a lot of overturn in the last year, and I know that's because we're post COVID, and you know what I mean. Like we're trying to meet the demands of the clients, but I also want to make sure that we're taking care of you. Is there anything that we could do better as a company for you?
Yeah, I think the scheduling would absolutely help. Sometimes we are working a lot of hours in a row without a break, or we have to pick people up because I'm the one in the building and there's nobody else to help. So I end up working an extra hour because I'm there. I think by having that scheduling, and being consistent with the scheduling on the iPad, that's going to help us to always have a coach for when the client is there, and having people take breaks when they need it and really help with, not getting burned out by the end of the week because, you've taken on so many extra hours. So I think that's a great idea, is, keeping on top of that scheduling, like you mentioned.
So for the scheduling, do you want maybe like blocking out like a lunchtime or something like that? Like what would work best for you? Because I know like a lot of the times our class times and our privates all kind of are one after another, one after another. So you don't really have a chance to have a break. Um, would you
Yeah.
prefer maybe like a blocked out lunch break or like 10-15 minutes between each class or something like that?
Yeah, I think both of those are really good ideas. Like having a blocked out lunch break to where it's like, hey, I can't be scheduled in that break. That would really help. And then, like you said too, maybe even putting that gap in between um, classes, giving me like a 15-minute break to kind of sit down, recuperate, and, get ready for the next class. That would definitely help with. That way I'm not going one after the other after the other. It gives me a little bit of, okay, I can kind of chill out, relax, and then get back to it.
Yeah, because like one time, sometimes I notice like when I'm up in the Westminster location, sometimes it's just you and you'll have
Hmm.
a private, but then you'll also have a 10 athlete class coming in and you need to check them in.
Yeah,
Um, and that's a lot on you to do by yourself.
right.
Um, so one thing I was also considering was maybe um, hiring or increasing the hours if they're open to our part-time administrator. Um,
Hmm.
so they can kind of take over those tasks so you can focus on what you do best.
Yeah.
So like we can work with them together on blocking the schedule and making the schedule.
Hmm.
Um, blocking out your breaks and then just making sure that there's someone else in the building to help you check in those athletes and make sure that everything's okay so you're not the only one there doing everything from what 2 to 9. That I don't I personally as uh management don't like that for you. Um so I'd like to advocate that a little bit more for you and see if we can get them in a little bit more or see if we can hire someone else to lighten the load on you. Because your work is great and I just want to keep you as an employee because you know how we run the culture, you fit in perfectly, and you deliver great sessions to our athletes and develop good relationships with them. So, um, having longevity in this career, hopefully I compete. Like to make that as easy as possible for you.
Yeah, that'd be great because then you're taking a little bit off of my plate instead of having to check people in and do the training. I can just focus on the training. So that's, that would definitely um, help out so much.
Cool. Yeah, because like we're sustainability, yeah, we always think about like when I asked you, the first thing you said was like environment. But we often overlook the actual people in that environment. Um, and I know when I was putting this together, I was like, we don't have like the biggest, I would say, necessarily impact on the environment necessarily. Like I would say like the paper and maybe energy, but half the time we don't have the lights on because it's daytime and it's light out and we live in California. And it doesn't really get cold. And even if it does get cold, we just close the door. Um, but in regards to sustainability for us as a company, it's more taking care of you guys and how can I make this training facility more efficient and productive by taking care of you. And if you guys are happy, our clients will be happy. Um, so I really appreciate you taking the time out of your schedule today to listen to me talk about this. But I felt like it was really something that we needed to block out time to and address, not necessarily from not just an environmental impact, but the impact that we're having on our employees as well. Um, so if there's anything else you would like to add or thoughts or anything like that, um, this time is yours.
No, thank you so much for taking the time out. This was really, really helpful, looking at bigger picture and then also, how it affects us as employees. So I really appreciate you putting this all together and listening and, putting action items together to make changes. So thank you very much for everything. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Brandon. I will see you later today.
Sounds good. Thanks, Melissa. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.